Hi friends, welcome to story time. How are you? While we wait for time to start, I think it's always good to get some wiggles out. Can you guys all stretch to the sky? High as you can. Stretch up. Can you all stretch down to your toes? Who can touch their toes? Stretch out. How wide can you reach? Now scrunch up into a ball. And now stretch out again. Now let's play a game. Let's see how fast we can be. Touch your nose, everybody. Are you ready? I'm going to give more instructions. See how fast you are. Touch your elbow. Touch your shoulder. Touch your eyebrow. Touch your hair. Touch your chin. Touch your ear. Can you keep up? That was kind of fast. Should we try again? Touch your nose. Touch your toes. Touch your tummy. Touch your shoulder. Touch your hair. We're going to speed up again. Touch your ear. Touch your eyebrow. Touch your chin. Touch your cheek. Touch your nose. How did you do? That was pretty fast. Okay. I think it's time to start stories. Are you ready? I'm so excited to be back and sharing stories with you. How was your week? Did you get to play outside? I know it's raining right now, but I hope you got to play outside and run and maybe play games. I don't know. What did you do? Sounds like you had some fun, I hope. Okay. Did you notice that it's getting a little colder outside? And summer is coming to an end. Harvest time is at the end of summer. Do we know what harvest time is? That's when we gather what has grown over the summer and we use it for food, like harvesting your garden. So who had a garden at their house? I did. I grew some things in my garden, and now I'm harvesting those things. I'm going out and I'm pulling the carrots, and I'm digging the potatoes, and I'm picking the kale, and I'm storing those things in my house so that my family can eat them. So I wonder if any of you could guess what our stories are about today. If you said harvest time, you were right. I have 3 stories, 1, 2, 3, to read to you today. And the first one is about a giant carrot. Are you guys ready? Let me get the story set up here. Here we go. Trying to figure out how to turn that camera around. It always takes me a second. Okay, the giant carrot. One warm day, Joe said, I will plant a carrot seed. And come summer, when it's grown, I'll drink a tall glass of carrot juice. Smacking his lips, he grabbed his shovel. He dug in the sandy soil until it was as fine and fluffy as stone ground flour. Wide Mama Bess hollered from the kitchen door. What you doing, Papa Joe? Planting a carrot seed, so come summer, I can drink a tall glass of carrot juice, said Papa Joe. Wide Mama Bess sauntered over to him. I'd rather park my lips on a wide bowl of carrot stew. She leaned over and poked one fingertip into the soil. She reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside lay one tiny carrot seed. She dropped it into the hole, covered it with soil, and patted it down. There, she said. Up walked Brother Abel. What you doing, Mama Bess? Planting a carrot seed, so come summer, I'll have a wide bowl of carrot stew. Brother Abel dipped a bucket into the well. He carried water to where Mama Bess had planted the seed. He scooped the water in his strong hands and sprinkled it over the soil. "I've got my mouth set on a jar of strong carrot relish," he said. Mama Bess and Papa Joe shook their heads. "No," Papa Joe said. "I want a tall glass of carrot juice." "No," Mama Bess said. "I want a wide bowl of carrot stew." Just then, the screen door swung open and out skipped sweet little Isabel. "What you doing, Brother Abel?" "Watering a carrot seed, so come summer I'll have a jar of strong carrot relish." Sweet little Isabel skipped over to where her family stood. "I want to help too," she said. Brother Abel laughed. "What can you do?" "I'll sing and dance to the carrot to make it grow, and come summer we'll have little cups of sweet carrot pudding." Tall Papa Joe and wide Mama Bess and strong Brother Abel laughed. But when sweet little Isabel sang and danced around the carrot seed, 2 tiny leaves sprang up through the soil. As the days grew brighter, Papa Joe raked leaves around the carrot top. Mama Bess pulled weeds, and Brother Abel sprinkled water. The carrot top grew a little bit. But when sweet Isabel sang and danced around the carrot top, it grew until it was as tall as little Isabel. Papa Joe scratched his head. "Well, don't that beat all? That carrot sure takes a fancy to little Isabel's singing and dancing." As the days grew warmer, Papa Joe tossed hay around the carrot top. Mama Bess pulled weeds, and Brother Abel sprinkled water. The carrot top grew a little bit. But when sweet little Isabel danced around the carrot top, it grew and grew until it was as tall as Mama Bess. Mama Bess wiped her face with her apron. "Well, I do declare, that carrot sure cottons to little Isabel's singing and dancing." As the days grew longer, Papa Joe shoveled compost around the carrot top. Mama Bess pulled weeds, and Brother Abel sprinkled water. The carrot top grew a little bit. But when sweet Isabel sang and danced around the carrot top, it grew as tall as Brother Abel. Brother Abel dusted off his overalls. "Well, for crying in a bucket, that carrot sure takes a shine to little Isabel singing and dancing." One summer day, when little Isabel sang and danced around the carrot top, her song fell like a gentle summer rain, and her heels kicked up a soft summer breeze. The carrot top grew and grew until it was as tall as Papa Joe. "Today, I'm going to pick this carrot. I want a tall glass of carrot juice," said Papa Joe. Mama Bess stuck out her chin. "I'm going to pick this carrot. I want a wide bowl of carrot stew." Brother Abel shook his head. "I'm going to pick this carrot. I want a jar of strong carrot relish." "Please let me help," little Isabel cried. "We'll have little cups of sweet carrot pudding." But Papa Joe grabbed hold of the carrot top first and yanked as hard as he could. He huffed and tugged and puffed and pulled. The carrot didn't budge. "Will you help me, Mama Bess?" Papa finally said. "Of course I will." She wrapped her arms around Papa Joe's belly, and they huffed and tugged and puffed and pulled. The carrot didn't budge. "You're strong, Brother Abel. Help us pull up this carrot," Mama Bess said. Brother Abel stopped and popped his knuckles. "Sure thing." Papa Joe grabbed the carrot top. Mama Bess wrapped her arms around his belly, and Brother Abel hugged Mama Bess's middle, and they huffed and tugged and puffed and pulled. The carrot didn't budge. "Please let me help," little Isabel cried. Tall Papa, Joe and wide Mama Bess and strong Brother Abel laughed. Papa Joe winked. Well, let's see what Isabel can do. Papa Joe grabbed the carrot top. Mama Bess grabbed her arms around Papa Joe, and Brother Abel hugged Mama Bess, and sweet little Isabel held on to Brother Abel as she sang and danced. The carrot began to shiver and shake and quiver and quake, and when little Isabel sang a high note, ah, the carrot popped right out of the ground. Their eyes grew wide. Can you see how big that carrot is? And their mouths fell halfway to their toes. The carrot was as tall as Papa Joe, as wide as Mama Bess, and because it was so hard to pull out of the ground, they knew it was even stronger than Brother Abel. And when at last they sat down at the table with their tall glasses of carrot juice, wide bowls of carrot stew, jars of strong carrot relish, and little cups of carrot pudding, they all agreed the pudding was as sweet as little Isabel. There's our recipe for carrot pudding. A cup of peeled carrots, some milk, some eggs, nutmeg, cinnamon, butter, honey. Oh my goodness. That sounds pretty good, friends. What did you guys think of this story? Did you have a favorite part? My favorite part is all the parts with little Isabel. I thought she was a pretty neat character in our story. So, I'm wondering what else you can grow in a garden besides carrots. Does anybody know? Those are some good answers. I think this next story, we're going to find out all kinds of things that will grow in a garden. This story is called Tops and Bottoms. We'll read it next. Let's see if I can figure out this camera this time. Here we go. Tops and Bottoms. What do you think? That is a sleepy bear. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear, and he had given all of his wealth to his son. But all Bear wanted to do was sleep. Siler, you're absolutely right. Cabbage is a great thing to grow in the garden. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with a tortoise and sold all of his land to Bear to pay off his debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. "The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something," Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. The next day, Hare popped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was sleeping. "Hello, Bear, wake up. It's your neighbor, Hare. I have an idea." Bear opened one eye and grunted. "We can be business partners," Hare said. "All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle. Yes, sir?" "Bear, we're in this together. I'll work and you sleep." "Huh?" said Bear. "So what will it be, Bear?" asked Hare. "The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you. Tops or bottoms?" Let's see," said Bear with a yawn. "I'll take the top half, Hare. Right? Tops." Hare smiled. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept, and the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops, and I'll get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up carrots, the radishes, and beets. Hare plucked off all the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Bear stared at his pile. "But Hare, all the best parts are in your half." "You chose tops, Bear," Hare said. "Now, Hare, you have tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season I want the bottoms." Hare agreed. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the bottoms, I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, the celery. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you've cheated me again." "But Bear," Hare said, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled, "You planted this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms." "You're right, poor old Bear," sighed Hare. "It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded, and then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There in front of Bear's house lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked every corn stalk. Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. "See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear, it's a done deal." By now, Bear was wide awake. "That's it, Hare," he hollered. "From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and middles." Hare and his family scooped up all the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. What did you think of that story, friends? That was pretty funny, huh? Do you think Hare was a really good neighbor? What about Bear? Was he a good neighbor? Do you think they learned some good lessons? I sure hope so. I hope they learned some good stuff from their time of being business partners together. So, now I'd like to do some counting before our last story. I think we all have some fingers we can use for counting. Can everybody find their fingers? All right. Today our fingers are pumpkins, okay? Let's see if we can count all the way to 10. Are you ready? 1 little, 2 little, 3 little pumpkins, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little pumpkins, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little pumpkins, 10 pumpkins on the vine. Let's try one more time. I want to see who can count with me. Ready? 1 little, 2 little, 3 little pumpkins, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little pumpkins, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little pumpkins, 10 pumpkins on the vine. That was great counting, friends. Thank you. Okay, we have one more story about harvest. This one is actually called Strega-Nona's Harvest. Let me get the book set up. And turn our camera around. Strega-Nona's Harvest. It was spring, and the snow had melted, and the rich earth was beginning to warm. Strega-Nona pulled out a small wooden box that had been hidden away in the dark cupboard all winter. Aha! She said as she took out the small packets of seeds she had saved from last year's garden. Que siete I miei amici piccoli. Boy, I'm stretching myself there to pronounce that. That's a different language, friends. Here you are, my little friends. Why were all those seeds in the dark? Strega-Nona, Big Anthony asked. Well, mio caro, my dear, Strega-Nona answered, they had to rest, just like you do, so they will be able to do their job when we plant them in the garden. When will we plant them, Strega-Nona? Bambolona asked. When Aluna, the moon, tells us, Bambolona, we will plant each kind of seed carefully in the right place. After all, we can't just throw the seeds into the ground in a big pile. A garden must be orderly, so it is easy to pick the vegetables. Now, let me take a look at my Libro de Giardino, my garden book, to see what we did last year. Every year, Strega-Nona wrote down in her book what she had planted and where. She never put the same vegetables in the same spot. We have to move them around, she told her young helpers, so the soil will stay happy and strong. But first, Anthony, you must spread the compost and manure we have saved all winter and rake it into the soil so our vegetables will grow as big and beautiful as can be. So Big Anthony put a clothespin on his nose and did his job. Children, come, called Strega-Nona. It's almost the end of Maggio, May, and there will be a full moon tonight. It is time to plant. Now, Anthony, I want you to make a nice straight row, actually lots of nice straight rows, in the soil with the end of the hoe. That's where the seeds will go. Big Anthony, Bambolona scolded, you're not making the rows straight enough. You know that Strega-Nona likes everything perfect. Do those look straight, friends? They look a little crooked to me. And Bambolona added, so do I. Bambolona is so bossy, Big Anthony thought. Someday I'll show her I can do something perfect too. See all the seeds, friends? Look at all the types of vegetables they're going to grow. And they're planting. Everyone's working together. I like to see that. That night, when the full moon rose in the sky, Strega-Nona quietly crept out into the garden. She looked up at the moon and sang, "Oh, bella luna, smile on me, and on the seeds I sow, and let the moonbeams shine from thee to make my garden grow. And now for the ingrediente segreto, the secret ingredient." Strega-Nona blew 3 kisses to the moon. Oh, said Big Anthony as he watched her. Suddenly he spied some seeds that had dropped on the ground. I know. I'll plant my own perfect garden behind the goat shed. I'll show Bambolona. So Big Anthony poked some holes in the ground. He threw in the seeds and covered them with compost and manure. And he watered and watered. Then he sang Strega-Nona's song, "Oh, bella luna, smile on me, and on the seeds I sow, and let the moonbeams shine from thee to make my garden really grow." And he blew 3 kisses to the moon, and just to be sure, he blew 3 more. As it did every year, Strega-Nona's garden grew beautifully, Big Anthony's garden is here. See it, friends? He's growing some stuff. And Stregonona's garden is here. There's the start, and now they're growing. Okay. Soon, bright green insalata salad was on the table. Fresh peas were added to the pasta from Stregonona's pasta pot. Green beans were cooked in olive oil, and the other vegetables were growing beautifully too. Big Anthony's secret garden was growing as well, but not quite so beautifully. It looked like a jungle. Mamma mia, Big Anthony thought, I can't let Bambolona or Stregonona see this mess. What do you think, friends? There's Stregonona's garden, and there's Big Anthony's. Do you see the difference? Oh, I can see some things starting to grow. I can tell what a couple things are in Anthony's. Now it was time to harvest the vegetables that Stregonona would keep over the winter. It wasn't long before the root cellar and the rafters in the kitchen were full. Molto bene. Very good, said Stregonona to Bambolona and Big Anthony. A job well done. We all deserve a good rest. But Big Anthony didn't have time to rest. He had other work to do. I've got to pick all my vegetables. What will I do with them? He asked. The next morning, when Stregonona opened the door, she found a big pile of vegetables. Santo cielo! Good heavens! Stregonona said. Where did these come from? She called Big Anthony and Bambolona. My children, please carry all these vegetables into the kitchen. Grazie. Thank you. Every morning there were more vegetables outside the door. Soon there was hardly any room to move in the kitchen. Maybe these are from the villagers, Stregonona thought. Perhaps they had too good of a harvest. Well, I must find out, and soon. If this goes on, I won't have room to sleep in my little bed at night. The next morning, Stregonona packed a basket of vegetables. I'll take these to the sisters at the convent, and maybe they'll know something. Oh, grazie, Stregonona, said Mother Superior. You must have heard our prayers. Our garden didn't do well this season. In fact, no one's garden in the village did. We had too much rain down here, while you had lots of sun on your hill. So Stregonona went right to the mayor. See, yes, Stregonona, Signor Mayor said. The harvest was poor this year. Well, I have more than enough to share, Stregonona said. I will have a harvest feast tomorrow evening at sundown. Tell everyone to come. And Stregonona practically ran up to her little house. Bambolona, Big Anthony, come quick, Stregonona said. We have much work to do. I'm going to have a harvest feast for all our friends and neighbors. We shall share our bounty. Lots of people are coming. What a feast, friends. Evviva, evviva, hurrah, hurrah for Stregonona, everyone shouted. Arrivederci, buonanotte, goodbye and good night, Stregonona and her two helpers called out. Stregonona looked around at her empty kitchen. Well, that took care of that, she said with a smile. But I still wonder where all those vegetables came from. And she climbed into bed. Later that night, what did you think of that story, friends? That was pretty good. Did you have a favorite story today? Was it our harvest story? Or maybe it was the one about the giant carrot? Or maybe this one, Tops and Bottoms? I think I like Tops and Bottoms. I think it was my favorite, but I always like animal stories. So, now that we're done with our stories, we have another activity. Can you guess what that is? Is there something we usually do after we read? I think you might be right. It's art time. We have art from Miss Carol. Look what she has for us today. This looks really fun, friends. So, our harvest project is to draw some vegetables to fill our basket and to paint with 2 primary colors to make a carrot like this one. Now, drawing would be kind of fun. Let's see. Let me see if I can draw something to fill our basket. Can you see that, friends? I'm not very good at drawing, but I will try. What do you think? And then we could color it. That's pretty good. What can you draw? Can you draw your favorite vegetables? Parents, I will make sure that there's a link to this page in the comments of the story, and you can also pick one up here at the library. Okay. I think maybe we'll try the painting. What do you think, friends? I have my piece of paper, and I have my 2 colors that Carol said I would need. Red and yellow. Now, let's see. What did Carol do? I think she used her fingers. That's what the instructions say. So we can mix our colors together. Hey, what happens when you mix red and yellow? That looks like orange. Now I can really have fun and make myself a carrot. What do you think? How'd I do? And then I'm gonna need, do I have green for the leaves? Let's see. Okay. What do you think, friends? I think that looks like a lot of fun. If you do your art project, I would love for you to share it with me. You can have Mom or Dad send us a picture, or when you come in to check library books out, you can bring it and show it to me. So that's a special reminder too. Even though we can't have story time, you can still check out books, remember? You can come in and you can get some books and you can check them out and take them home. Or if you can't come inside, then we can bring books out to you. Just give us a call and tell us what books you'd like, and we'll bring them right out to your car. So, I hope you enjoyed story time today, friends. I really am happy to be able to share with you, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye for now, friends. See you later.